அருவருவாக பார்க்குற ஒரு சனாதனத்தை சொல்லணும்னா முறைப்படி ஒரு காலத்தில் தொண்ணூறு இருந்தது, இப்போ ஹச்சையில் இருந்தது.
Any religion which does not give you equal rights, does not treat you like humans, is not a religion. So it's as good as a disease.
இந்த இந்தியா என்பது ஒரு சனாதன கொள்கைக்கு எதிர்ப்பாக உருவாக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிற கூட்டணி தான் இந்தியா.
आज उसी सनातन को ये इंडी गठबंधन तहस नहस करना चाहता है. हमें मिलकर ऐसी ताकतों को रोकना है.
Viewers, in the year 2024, Sanatan Dharma was subjected to unending slander on various platforms, sparking a nationwide conversation about faith, identity, and the role of politics in religious discourse. The peak of this controversy was marked by public statement from political figures like Udyanidhi Stalin, who compared Sanatan to diseases that need eradication. And this ignited a firestorm of backlash and debate. Viewers, the year is ending with shivling tongues being thrown by political leaders like Akhilesh Yadav. As we look towards 2025, there's a growing demand for better protection and representation of Sanatan faith, and more importantly, viewers, the sentiments of the devotees. This has led to calls for the establishment of a Sanatan Board, a body aimed at safeguarding Hindu religious sites, practices and sentiments from misrepresentation or attack. Viewers, the idea is to create a centralized organization that can respond to legal, cultural and political challenges more effectively than the currently fragmented Hindu groups. There is a feeling that the backlash from events of 2024 could make parties more wary, cautious if you like, possibly leading to a more nuanced approach to religious discourse that respects the diversity and depth of Sanatan without reducing it to a political pawn. There's also what many say an emerging cultural movement to reclaim and redefine what Sanatan Dharma means in contemporary society. Viewers, the need for such a board has been articulated by various voices within the Hindu community, from spiritual leaders to political commentators who argue that a structured entity would help in safeguarding Sanatan. Viewers, the use of religion, particularly Sanatan, as a political tool is likely to continue so long as it yields electoral dividends for parties. But what must stop is the abuse, the blatant abuse. The year 2024 might be remembered as a turning point where the dialogue around Sanatan Dharma reached a crescendo of controversy, prompting reflection and reaction. The establishment of a Sanatan Board could mark a new era where the faith is not just defended but also celebrated and understood in its true essence. However, for any meaningful change in 2025, viewers, it would require a concerted effort from all stakeholders, who are politicians, religious leaders, and the public, you and I, to ensure Sanatan is respected not merely as a vote bank, but as a profound philosophy integral to India's civilizational ethos. We have a wonderful panel. Let's open this up. Dushyant Sridhar, Vedic scholar. Ratan Sharda needs no introduction. Harshvardhan Tripathi ji, senior journalist. Shantanu Gupta, author. Rahul Ishwar completes this panel. Dushyant Sridhar, let me begin by asking you, what do you make of the Sanatan Slander spree in 2024? And how do we end this?
Okay. Namaskaram, Pranesh, and namaskaram to such a very learned set of panelists and to all the Astikas who've been watching your channel. With respect to the board, every time that I would like to present it, Pranesh, I would be very careful. I would say Sanatana Dharma, which is also called as Hinduism, because I am equating the word Hinduism every time with Sanatana Dharma, which is the truth, is because the political circle, some part of the vicious political circle did call Sanatana Dharma as different from Hinduism, which is not the case. So Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism, synonymous, that requires a board for a variety of reasons very quickly. We have three words: Pramanam, Prameyam, and the Pramata. Pramanam is the scriptures. One, for misrepresentation and denigration of our scriptures. If you remember, Pranesh, I have participated in 4 debates in your very channel where Ramcharitamanas, which is one of the beautiful transcreations of the Valmiki Ramayanam in Awadhi by Tulsidas ji, was burned in the north of India. There were calls stating that it should be banned. So it is very important that Hinduism protects its scriptures and gives due respect to the scriptures, and any amount of disregard or burning should be banned. Point number 1. Point number 2 is with respect to the Prameyam, with respect to the temples. I know especially the temples north of the Vindhyas. I'm not saying that the temples south of the Vindhyas never faced, but especially temples north of the Vindhyas faced a lot of attacks during the last 1,000 years, especially during the Mughal invasion. So when all that happened, the very retrieval through a legal process itself is being questioned and is being ridiculed. So it goes to the extent of stating that you may find a temple or a Shivaling below a chief minister's residence. My point is, if the Shivalingam is found below the chief minister's residence, the chief minister has to move to another place, because originally that land belonged to Parameshwara. So it has to go to him. So as simple as that. So retrieval of temples. And I also participated in debates in the very same year where there was allegedly adulteration found in the ghee meant for the prasadam. And last of all, the astikas, the third big point, Pranesh, because you can have a temple, you can have a scripture, but you need followers. I feel in the last 100-200 years, one thing that the Hindu community has never concentrated is the high amount of conversion that happens. So I feel that forcible conversion, that luring should not go unchecked. So I feel the board should concentrate on this forcible anti-conversion drive, and conversion drive which is very, very bad for the very sustenance of the dharma. If these 3 things happen to be the core principles of the board, I feel it will achieve its purpose by not ridiculing or undermining any other religion. No other religion needs to be frightened. It is just about the sustenance of Sanatana Dharma.
I'm glad that, you at the beginning of your remarks, you said that Sanatan is equal to Hinduism, because a lot of mischief, goes around in the name of, so-called secularism, which is a disservice to the word and to the idea of India. Ratan Sharda, when what do you make of this demand for a Sanatan board?
Pranesh, first of all, I would go back to history and remind that before Vishnu Parishad was born in 1964, there were never hundreds of sects coming on a single platform. It was a humongous exercise. In fact, Shri Guruji, RSS chief, had to go to meet many of those Mathadishas who refused to come on the ground, who thought that they needed higher seat and bigger seat, etc., etc. To bring those hundreds of people on one platform, Dharma Gurus, scholars, was a big feat. Second big feat was that when they agreed that na Hindu na patito bhavet, no Hindu can be fallen or achut, and Hindava Sahodara, every Hindu is born from the same mother, so they are brothers and sisters. This revolutionary progress was done in 1969 from 1964. This is how difficult it is to bring Hindu saints and scholars together, but VHP succeeded in that. I am also aware that Vishnu Parishad is working very hard for many years now to bring acharyas together, to have their views, to have some kind of common code of conduct when we want to have the temples freed from government control and how to manage those temples. So these things are going on, but things are also deteriorating very fast. As you look at, as you rightly pointed out, and even Dushantaji pointed out, the way Hindu society is being defamed, being defiled and ridiculed and attacked. And the attack also starts from West now. As you see, in West, there is sudden movement in USA defaming every Hindu of every kind, hardworking people. And they are okay with the legal high-skilled migrants. I have problem with those people, high-skilled migrants, but they're fine with illegal refugees who are low-skilled. So there are some serious problems. And also believe that some of the things that Sanatan Board or Hindu Dharma Board or whatever you call it, I always equate Sanatan with Hindu Dharma. I also with the people, or some people who want to sound modern and call it Indic, whatever it is, they are all Hindus. So all these bodies need to look at very seriously on conversion. Vishnu Parishad, Banvasi Kalyanashram, RSS are doing some work for long years, but that's not enough, because you are fighting of international and multinational giants. So we need a very strong body which will create enough funds and take care of enough of the missionaries who would go out and try to stop this vile attempt at spiritual violence against this straightforward people and the ridicule kind of changai sabhas that happen in Punjab and many places. And the abusers who get the best lawyers from the jihadi abusers and priests, they get the best kind of legal help, the most costly lawyers. I don't know how they afford it. While we, the people who are on the road, find it very difficult to get enough good legal aid. So second most critical issue for me is legal aid, which the existing organizations like RSS and VHP have not been able to find because of lack of funds, maybe because of lack of attention on that. But we also need very strong legal framework where we can take care of activists who are abused, who are reviled. So you can be a dog lover, you can be a horse lover, you can be a cat lover, but you cannot be a cow lover because that is so passe. So this approach to our dharma, where cow is also the basis of one of the belief systems, and in fact is also organically, scientifically required for every society, where people are not giving up beef because they know the climate cannot be saved unless they give on beef, which is the most highly consuming green assets. So these are some of the issues that really need to be taken care of. And we also must do some intellectual exercise where I say that we have to answer to these people who make false claim about Manusmriti, about Ramcharitmanas, about Vedas. So, and we have to create literature which can be understood by today's social media, Instagram generation, which cannot read or listen beyond 4 sentences on WhatsApp or beyond 1 minute of Instagram. Right. So how to reach out to that young generation so they don't feel reviled, they don't feel I would say apologetic about the dharma, because this is the best possible human dharma, which is the dharma for the entire humankind. It is needed to have a multiple plural society. It is needed for climate, is needed for the survival of the entire world, because the world has been devastated time and again by Abrahamic fight that only I am superior and everybody else is inferior to me and must be stopped or converted or killed, whether it's communism or Islamism or Christianism. So on that basis, we need that fight also to go on. So we need a body which is much more powerful.
Right. We'll talk about the misrepresentation or misinterpretation and distortion in just a bit. I want to bring in Harshvardhan ji quickly. Harshvardhan ji, देखिए एक तरफ जो टेम्पल्स हैं वो स्टेट कंट्रोल में है, एक तरफ अब्यूज किया जा रहा है सनातन को, और दूसरी तरफ वोट के लिए अपीज भी किया जा रहा है.
प्रणय जी, सबसे पहले तो ये मेरा थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट व्यू पॉइंट है. मैं एकदम इसके पक्ष में नहीं हूं कि कोई सनातन धर्म बोर्ड जैसी चीज बने. ये हिंदू धर्म के मूल के ही खिलाफ है. हिंदू धर्म कतई ये नहीं कहता है कि एक बोर्ड बना दीजिए, कुछ लोगों को ताकत दे दीजिए और कल को वो लोग हिंदू धर्म या सनातन धर्म के लिए ही काम कर रहे होंगे. इसकी गारंटी कौन लेगा? कैसे तय होगा कि कौन लोग होंगे जो उस बोर्ड को चला रहे होंगे? हिंदू धर्म को, सनातन धर्म को स्ट्रेंथन करने की जरूरत है. इस पे किसी को कोई जरा सा भी इस पे रंच मात्र संदेह नहीं होना चाहिए. इस पे कोई डिबेट हो ही नहीं सकती. भारतवर्ष में हिंदू और सनातन को बहुत मजबूत होने की जरूरत है, उसको समझने की जरूरत है. मंदिरों को सरकारी नियंत्रण से जितनी जल्दी हम बाहर कर सकें, गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल फ्री कर सकें, उतना अच्छा होगा. लेकिन जब हम कहते हैं कि सनातन धर्म परिरक्षणम बोर्ड या सनातन धर्म बोर्ड या सनातन रक्षा बोर्ड, तो इसका मतलब यह है कि कुछ लोगों की पॉलिटिकल जो एम्बिशंस हैं उसको पूरा करने के लिए एक बोर्ड बनाने के लिए हम बात कर रहे हैं. और देखिए, मैं प्रयागराज शहर से आता हूं. अभी हमारे यहां कुंभ मेला लगने वाला है. वैसे तो और जगहों पर भी लगता है, लेकिन इस कुंभ का विशेष महत्व होता है. तो वो है क्या? वो यही तो है, सभी धर्माचार्य, सभी अखाड़े, सभी मठों के जो मठाधीश हैं, ये सब वहां एकत्रित होते हैं. हिंदू धर्म के बारे में शास्त्र जितने तरह की बातें करते हैं, जिसको कहते हैं कि समयानुकूल उसमें बदलाव परिवर्तन कर सकते हैं क्या, जीवन व्यवहार में क्या कुछ बेहतर कर सकते हैं क्या, जिस तरह की परिभाषाएं अलग अलग दी जा रही हैं उसका सही काउंटर कर सकते हैं क्या, उसी के लिए तो इकट्ठा होते हैं. फिर अलग से किसी बोर्ड की जरूरत क्यों है? हमारे 4 आदि शंकर, 4 शंकराचार्य बना के गए. शंकराचार्य गद्दी के लिए लड़ रहे हैं, और कल को हम धर्म इस तरह का सनातन धर्म बोर्ड बनाएंगे तो वो नहीं लड़ेंगे, ये हम कैसे मान लें? हमारा क्या होना चाहिए? हमें उस तरफ जाना चाहिए, ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग अवेयर हों, जागरूक हों, इसकी हमें जरूरत है। हम अपने मंदिर के इर्द गिर्द जो हमारी हिंदू जीवन पद्धति है उसको कैसे स्थापित कर सके, उस पर बात होनी चाहिए। और निश्चित तौर पर चूंकि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय खतरे हैं, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय साजिशें हैं, तो हमें उसकी तैयारी मजबूती से करनी होगी। लेकिन ऐसा ना हो कि बड़े खतरे से लड़ने के चक्कर में हम छोटे छोटे और नए खतरे पाल लें, इससे बचना चाहिए।
हर्षवर्धन जी, क्या आपको लगता है कि आप शायद ये इसीलिए कह रहे हैं, मुझे पता नहीं, आप बता दीजिए कि आपको लगता है कि जैसे वक्फ बोर्ड का एक तरह से मिसयूज हो रहा है, सनातन बोर्ड भी कहीं उसी वैसा ही दलदल ना बन जाए? क्या आपको उसका डर है?
बिल्कुल डर है। और मैं तो कह रहा हूं ना, शंकराचार्य पदवीधारी लोग किस तरह से अदालतों के चक्कर काट रहे हैं, किस तरह से उनकी लड़ाई हो रही, किस तरह से वो पॉलिटिकली मोटिवेटेड स्टेटमेंट देते रहे, ये हमने देखा है। ठीक है, आपकी किसी पार्टी से लड़ाई हो सकती है, शंकराचार्य के तौर पर आपका कार्य क्या है? सिर्फ और सिर्फ हिंदू सनातन पद्धति के इर्द गिर्द सारी बात करना। आपके मुंह से निकला हुआ एक भी शब्द, आपकी वाणी उसको परिलक्षित करने वाली होनी चाहिए। लेकिन जब इस तरह की चीजों में फंसते हैं और जब बोर्ड बन जाएगा तो जाहिर आप किसी को तो बिठाएंगे, कोई तो बड़ा व्यक्ति बैठेगा। तो मुझे लगता है उससे बाहर आने की जरूरत है, यह ज्यादा जरूरी है।
Shantanu Gupta, do you first of all agree with what Harshvardhan ji is saying? And then the second question is about what Ratan Sharda was talking about. How do we stop distortion?
I think this is a very nuanced debate and I'm enjoying the debate. I think I completely agree with Harshvardhan ji that Hindu religion, Hindu faith is not a one book, one God, one organization religion, right? And we are never centralized, never controlled. We never got the diktat ki isko vote do, aise karo, waise karo. There are multiple mat panth, and as Harshji was saying, from 13 January to 26 February, there will be Mahakumbh and multiple faiths, multiple organizations, multiple akhadas will come. We have some umbrella organization like Akhil Bharatiya Akhada Parishad, where 14 akhadas are represented, but there are not organizations which issue a central dictum. But having said that, in the modern times, when multiple attacks are having on Sanatan, as you were saying, 2024 was almost a competition that who is the biggest Hindu basher? Is it Rahul Gandhi or Udayanidhi Stalin? Is it Mamata Banerjee or Akhilesh Yadav, or is Arvind Kejriwal? Everybody is eyeing for that title that I am the biggest Hindu basher. In such a case, do we need a central voice? Maybe yes. So that's why I'm saying still I'm not decided in my mind, like something like a Hindu board or a Sanatan board, if it's misused at some point or it will create an adipatya at some point, maybe it's a problem. But to counter such negative opinion, and also as VHP is also running a movement and a lot of other independent people are also running movement to independent to free the temples. Once the temples are freed, what will be the code of conduct? How will be they managed? Whom will they? So maybe initially we need some central body to allocate that, right? So I'm still not decided in my mind. I think there is a need for a central body, but that doesn't agree with the central Hindu core, right? Which doesn't believe in a lot of centralization. So yeah, I'm still undecided in my head and still need further nuanced opinion for a lot of other scholars. Yeah.
That's okay. We can, continue this debate into 2025. It does not have to, end this evening. But, I'm glad that at least people are being upfront on the show, as the name is. Rahul Ishwar, where do you stand? How do you see this?
Pranesh, two submissions. One, yes, our Hindu religion is very vibrant, wide, and it's like a rainbow. It has many colors, many shades, and that should be like it. We should celebrate it. But the importance of a board, as proposed by people like Pavan Kalyan, is for practical issues that we need to tackle. I'll give you a real-life example rather than philosophical outputs. For example, in Shabarimala, the leftist government was taking money from the Shabarimala temple itself and fighting against Shabarimala. Just imagine a situation when the government or the Devasam board, which is controlled by the government, the politicians, they were taking money from the very Shabarimala and arguing against it in the Supreme Court by paying the advocates for arguing against the believers and Shabarimala. So there are some issues like this. See, when the Britishers came, they wanted to control our temples because they wanted to stop the consolidation of Hindus in temples. That's how they wanted to intervene. It was something like a Trojan horse that they set up, that by carefully intervening in our temples and taking it over. Yes, we are beautifully wide, we are very philosophically wide, that's our greatness. Vedan Shardaji, who I consider a guru and a senior mentor, I agree with 80% of what he says, he agrees with 60% of what he says, but we are all Hindus at the end of the day. That's the beauty of the great our faith or philosophy. But at the same point, for example, even in the philosophical nuance, we have Dvaita, we have Advaita, we have Vishishtadvaita, we have people who totally accept Shankaracharya, we have people who partially accept Shankaracharya, we have the Arya Samajis, Brahma Samajis, who even question the very foundation of the temple worship or idol worship. But we are all united as Hindus. But for practical purposes, when there are issues to run court cases, to defend attack against our interests.
Right.
We need these kind of boards, and that is more of a practical reality. Yes, philosophically it should be a rainbow, but in order to escape from huge rains, we need an umbrella, and that umbrella will be this board.
Ratan Sharda, Rahul Ishwar is being very careful. वो 80-20 से बच रहे हैं तो 80-50 बोल दिया उन्होंने.
See, I will go back to my opening statement where I said how difficult it is to bring Hindu Samaj on one or Hindu Sant Parampara on one platform, and VHP was successful in that. So we have an art of creating consensus. We have Dharma Sansad of Vishnu Parishad, which takes place during Kumbh Mela also, otherwise also, where they pass many resolutions. Not all are accepted by the Hindu society again. We have some Shankaracharyas who have been fighting for his peace. First his guru fought, then he fought, who has been against every kind of unified voice of Hindus. So we have such people also, but at the same time, I think the decentralized approach of VHP, where we have a platform where we come together, we decide on some issues, and we let the local bodies of the decentralized areas to do their own thing. So when it comes to issues like Ram Mandir, when it comes to issues like Hindu reforms, we are together on a platform, our voice is one. When it comes to temple management, it may be different from different areas. So that's why we need a body which is a federal kind of structure, not the unified kind of Waqf board we are talking about. We are talking the Hindu nature, where we sit together, we think Saman, we look Saman, we look in same direction, and then we decide what we will do. So the Samiti Mantra, Samano Samiti, etc., etc. These are the guidelines for the kind of body we are talking about. And I think Vishnu Parishad, when I said that we are talking for years for temple management code, it has not been yet clear. So we keep on discussing, we keep on coming to consensus. So our approach is not that 5 people will sit in the body like Harshvardhanji thinks. It will be again a very consensus, oriented board, but we'll need people, we will need, within that we need subcommittees which work on conversion, which work on abuse of Hindus, which works on Hindu activism, etc. So, which is already there, but which is not working enough. So the demand this is that we relook at the entire structure that VHP or RSS created or other bodies are doing and come up with a new formula, new kind of organization which is federal at the same time, which will have a unified voice when Hindus are attacked.
Ratan Sharda ji, there are many people who, after what happened, a few days ago when the RSS chief, he said that, look, don't look for mandir underneath every mosque, sab jaga mat dhundo. Then there was a piece by Praful Ketkar. I'm sure you're aware of it. Many people said that, look, RSS can't speak for all Hindus. हर्षवर्धन जी भी वही कह रहे हैं कि मिसयूज होने के चांसेस बढ़ जाएंगे. कोई एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हिंदू धर्म या सनातन धर्म के बारे में कैसे एडवोकेसी कर सकता है? तो ये जो आइडिया है,
that is why I gave example of Vishnu Parishad, which has been working since 1964 and has been able to create some kind of consensus on most of the issues. It is not easy, as I said. There are Shankaracharyas who have their own path. There are Sant who also always find some way of glorifying themselves. That is our weakness. Over that weakness, that is why Vishnu Parishad has taken so many years
challenge to
get people
to come together and perhaps evolve a consensus and then a structure that many like Harshvardhan ji and Shantanu Gupta, who still deciding, not sure of what the perfect idea could be, can agree to. Dushyant ji, what do you make of what Harshvardhan ji said, his objections?
Again, Pranesh, I heard all of them very carefully. I respect each of their opinions and their concerns are very much valid. But here is where I would like to say this is not going to be like a GST council where you get one representative of every state and then you arrive at a consensus. See, we are not looking at homogenizing the schools of philosophies or theologies. Visishta Advaita is going to remain Visishta Advaita. Advaita is going to remain Advaita. Vaishnavism as a theology is going to remain Vaishnavism. But in this long history of a plethora of schools of philosophies and theologies, we have never resorted to burning of books, Pranesh. See, this year there was a talk about burning of Ramcharitmanas. This burning of manuscripts is absolutely against the very ethos of this civilization. So I may have differences with one book. I write another book to condemn certain aspects of one book, but resorting to name calling, resorting to calls of burning of a book, all this needs a nationwide condemnation, and that too, it should come from all kinds of adhyams. See, for example, when the Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated the new parliament and then the Sengol was placed there, the Adhinams of the south were invited. I'm sure a lot of them, especially in the north of India, may not even know who these Adhinams are. But they have been there for the last 1,500 plus years. And they have also been fighting for the Hindu cause in their own way. So my only thing is, when Sanatan Dharma Board is formulated, which represents Hinduism, it is not about homogenizing the sutras of Apastamba or Bodhayana. It is not about homogenizing a school of philosophy, but to get to the practical issue. When we see that there are calls about burning a book, the entire board should condemn. It should say that you cannot ask for a book to be burned.
But Dushyant, all of that is not happening. You know, you're talking about a united condemnation of something that you just mentioned, call for burning of a manuscript. But you see, what is happening is, even if Hindus are under attack in neighboring Bangladesh, there are very few people who are asking for a resolution. The parliament session, you know, through the course of it, we had many instances of empty symbolism, but a resolution did not come about. हर्षवर्धन जी, ये तो एक फैशन भी हो गया है, जैसे you know, आप कहते हैं डिबेट्स में कि कुछ भी बोल दो, स्टंट कर दो, कुछ चीजों को जलाना शायद ज्यादा आसान है, कहीं और दूसरे मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट या किसी और धर्म की बात करेंगे तो फिर आप लोगों को डर लगने लगता है कि ये कैसे बोल दें, वो कैसे बोल दें।
प्रणेश जी, मैं इसको बड़ी गंभीरता से कह रहा हूं, और फिर मैं कह रहा हूं कि जो लोग भी सनातन धर्म बोर्ड को आगे लेकर जाने वाले हैं, कोई स्ट्रक्चर बनाया जाए, कोई अम्ब्रेला बनाया जाए, कोई रिप्रेजेंटेशन का स्टाइल होगा, ये पॉसिबल नहीं है कि हिंदू धर्म की ठेकेदारी किसी एक बोर्ड के पास हो। ये संभव ही नहीं हो सकती। और ये कहना बड़ा आसान है कि अद्वैत, द्वैत, वैष्णव, शैव, निराकार, साकार, जैसे भी जिसको पूजा करनी है, जैसे भी जिसकी जो पद्धति हो, सब बड़ा अच्छा है। लेकिन क्या ऐसा कोई बोर्ड होगा तो वो कहीं से भी, क्योंकि अभी हम क्या है, वाद विवाद संवाद से समाधान और सहमति तक पहुंचते हैं, जिसको मैं शास्त्रार्थ के तौर पर, क्योंकि हम शास्त्रार्थ करने वाले लोग हैं, हम किसी एक बात पर हम जिज्ञासु लोग हैं। हिंदू है ही इसीलिए। हिंदू स्थिर नहीं है, वो जड़ नहीं, वो चैतन्य है, और वो चेतना जागृत होती है जब हम एक दूसरे से वाद विवाद संवाद से समाधान पहुंचते हैं, जिसको शास्त्रार्थ कहते हैं। हमारे पास अखाड़े हैं, हमारे पास मठ है, हमारे पास शंकराचार्य है, हमारे पास दूसरे ऐसे ढेर सारे लोग हैं जो अलग अलग क्षेत्रों में काम कर रहे हैं, जो अपने आप को उस तरह से धार्मिक नहीं कह रहा है, लेकिन हिंदू समाज चेतना के लिए ज्यादा बेहतर काम कर रहा है। उसको आप उस बोर्ड में कैसे शामिल करेंगे? क्या कहकर शामिल करेंगे? और फिर क्या दूसरा कोई जो होगा, जो अपने आप को धार्मिक तौर पर वहां दिखा रहा है, वो वेशभूषा से, वाणी से, व्यवहार से, वो कहेगा कि हम तो ज्यादा हैं? और ये संभव ही नहीं है। मैं फिर से कह रहा हूं, हिंदू को उसकी चेतना के साथ स्वीकार करने का मतलब हुआ, जो जिस मार्ग पर चल रहा है वो चेतना उसकी जागृत हो। और इसीलिए ये जो ऐसे कुंभ जैसे आयोजन होते हैं, या माघ मेला होता है, या ऐसी परिषद होती है, उसको बढ़ाया जाना चाहिए। दक्षिण भारत, उत्तर भारत, पूर्व पश्चिम, इनके मंदिरों के बीच में समन्वय, सामंजस्य ज्यादा होना चाहिए। हमारी अपनी जो मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट है, कितने लोग पढ़कर उसका सही जो अर्थ है वो बता सकते हैं, ऐसे लोग ज्यादा होने चाहिए। उसका संदर्भ ग्रंथ बताने वाले ज्यादा होने चाहिए। वो काम हो रहा है क्या? वरना जब हम बोर्ड की तरफ बढ़ते हैं तो तुरंत ये एक पॉलिटिकल एंटिटी की तरह बनता है, जो पावर की तरफ ले जाता है कि हमारे पास पावर है कि नहीं, हम उसमें कहां खड़े। और वो मैं फिलहाल इससे कन्विंस नहीं होता कि कोई ऐसा बोर्ड होगा और वो हिंदुओं का बहुत भला करेगा, सनातन का बहुत भला करेगा। मैं कन्विंस नहीं होता, क्योंकि हिंदू का मतलब ही है कि कहीं किसी जगह पर एक तो कोई होगा जो खड़ा होकर कहेगा कि नहीं, ये वाला सवाल थोड़ा सा मेरे मन में आ रहा है।
Shantanu Gupta, in the interim, what should one do? What is the solution? At least in the interim. I mean, should we not have a board or a body that can act like a pressure group, tell the government to give up temple control?
See, Pranesh, you're right. I think while the debate is happening and we can see that how independent a Hindu is, we all five are speaking different languages. When we sit together, we're aligned. Our puja paddhatis will be similar. And when like even someone as senior as Mohan Bhagwat ji say something and people can very well disagree with him, right? That's very possible and very respectful. So I think during the course of debate, I'm also making my opinion. So now I think I'm realizing what Harshvardhan is saying is right. We are not aligning everything. We are not trying to create Hinduism as a homogeneous philosophy. But yeah, I think for a tactical time, maybe for time being, for tactical things, for logistical things, for someone to represent us in various bodies, I think we need some kind of body. If you remember, Baba Ramdev formed a Bharatiya Siksha Board, right? Someone took a lead and formed a Bharatiya Siksha Board. Now some elements of it are in NEP, National Education Policy, in form of IKS, Indian Knowledge System. Right. So now I think I'm also increasingly thinking there should be a body, a representation, which will be like multi-pronged. Like there should be a representative of everyone.
For lack of a better example, और हर्षवर्धन जी शायद ये आपसे भी एक छोटा मैं जवाब चाहूंगा कि जैसे आप कह रहे हैं कि ये संभव ही नहीं है, लेकिन ये जो कॉन्वर्सेशन अभी हम कर रहे हैं, आप दुष्यंत जी कुछ कह रहे हैं, रतन शारदा जी का अपना एक व्यू है, आपने कुछ कहा, शांतनु बता रहे हैं कि मैं अभी भी सोच ही रहा हूं, राहुल ईश्वर हैं, क्या इस तरह का कॉम्पोजिशन अगर हो एक बोर्ड में तो वो भी संभव नहीं है? एटलीस्ट वहां डिस्कशन तो हो।
नहीं, मुझे लगता है कि हम पांचों, या मैं उसमें आपको भी शामिल करता हूं।
नहीं, मुझे रहने दीजिए सर, मुझे तो
हम में से किसी को इस पर कंफ्यूजन नहीं है ना कि सनातन और हिंदू जो एक दूसरे के समानार्थी हैं, एक ही हैं। इनका जो अवेयरनेस कैंपेन कहिए, इनको लेकर जितनी तरह की भ्रांतियां हैं उसको कहिए, इनको लेकर अगर कोई गलत बात कही जा रही तो उसका काउंटर नैरेटिव क्रिएट करना, ये होना चाहिए। लेकिन आप बताइए ना, मैं सवाल यहीं से शुरू करता हूं। सनातन को एड्स, डेंगू, मलेरिया बताया गया। दक्षिण भारत के कितने मंदिरों ने, कितने बड़े प्रमुख लोगों ने डीएमके की सरकार के खिलाफ कोई बड़ा आंदोलन खड़ा किया? तो क्या हम इसको, अगर हम जैसे ही हम ऐसा बोर्ड बना देंगे ना, उनके अपने छोटे छोटे कंपल्शंस होते हैं। आप जब धर्म के तौर पर खड़े होते हैं तो आप अपनी बात मजबूती से रख सकते हैं।
कंपल्शन तो बहुत साफ है हर्षवर्धन जी, वो कैसे प्रोटेस्ट या कुछ कर देंगे, क्योंकि वो तो सरकार के अधीन है। वो तो उनका तो, जैसे किसी ने एग्जाम्पल दिया था महाराष्ट्र इलेक्शन में, हुक्का पानी बंद हो जाएगी, सरकार ने वैसे ही उनको परेशान करके रखा है, वो सब बंद हो जाएगा। तो सनातन बोर्ड जब ये आइडिया डिस्कस होता है तो वो आई थिंक इवेंचुअली वहां पे पहुंचने की कोशिश है, और उससे पहले तो जो इश्यूज हैं,
एक लाइन में थोड़ा और उसको सिंप्लीफाई कर देता हूं। अरविंद केजरीवाल अभी पुजारी ग्रंथी सम्मान योजना चला रहे हैं, और क्या उनको एक भी पुजारी मिलना चाहिए था इस पर रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए? लेकिन मिले ना, एक भी पुजारी। छोड़िए, बोर्ड छोड़ दीजिए, बोर्ड पर बैठा व्यक्ति होता वो बोल देगा तो फिर कहेंगे कि ये बोर्ड हमारे साथ आ गया। और मैं फिर कह रहा हूं, जब आप किसी सोसाइटी में, आज की जो डेमोक्रेसी है उसमें इलेक्शन होते हैं, वोट होते हैं, पार्टियां होती, बेहतर होगा कि ऐसा कोई बोर्ड नहीं हो। हमने जो जिसको कहते हैं कि अलग अलग धर्माचार्यों को भी देखा जो इस तरह से लाइन हुए, उनकी साख खत्म होते हुए। हमने मुस्लिमों में जामा मस्जिद के इमाम को भी देखा, और हमने वक्फ बोर्ड और पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड को भी देखा। ये सब खत्म होना चाहिए। डेमोक्रेसी में आपको अपने रिलीजन के लिए जो करना है वो काम करिए। ये क्या बात हुई कि एक वक्फ बोर्ड था, कुछ और बना देंगे?
नहीं, खत्म करिए। इसीलिए मैं कह रहा हूं पहला स्टेप तो है कि जो सरकार का कंट्रोल है पहले तो वो छोड़े, उसके बाद ये सब जो बातें हैं वो होती रहेगी। बट आई एम ग्लैड दैट वी आर एटलीस्ट हैविंग अ कॉन्वर्सेशन। आई थैंक ऑल ऑफ यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस ऑन टाइम्स नाउ।